Hello everyone, Chicken here. The new update just dropped a little bit ago, about an hour ago, hour and a half, and I'm looking at the patch notes. I've only read through about like half of it, and I gotta say already off the bat, there are some weird and exciting changes for this patch that I can't wait to try on stream. So I'll just go through with you what I think about every single part of these changes. And first off, we have Moskov. Honestly, I have no idea why they nerfed him so hard. Because the only trade-off, it seems, is just like a little bit of an ult buff where you can TP after the ult. But they nerfed so much about his base attributes, HP, attack growth, his attack speed boost on his first skill. Like, I have no idea how that's supposed to compensate for it at all. So already off the bat, like, weird change right there. That's the revamp that they were talking about. And then Masha changed. So, to explain it to you guys, they basically don't want Masha to be just a pure tank hero. They want to be opt her more for like damage as well. And so by doing that, they nerf her ult, first of all, down here, that it doesn't do damage based on your extra HP. Now it does damage based on the target HP, or the target's HP. So there's almost no point to just build full tank now because of that. They removed the disarm effect where they couldn't auto the second skill for some reason, but instead they put it on the ult. And they made like a knockback for anyone around except for the person you ult. And then the first skill, instead of an off and on, is a one-time cast, and for every auto reduces the cooldown and it costs HP. So that's the new gimmick of Masha, where it seems like you're supposed to be like an attack speed lifesteal hero instead of just a full tank hero, and your skills cost HP. Yeah. Oh, you get also full CC immunity when you only have one bar of HP. That is interesting. That is really interesting. And she can't gain defense from equipment or emblems. It just turns into pure attack. She's literally just pure attack now. She's just pure, straight up an assassin. Masha. That's like, they literally just reworked her whole hero, which is very interesting. Argus got like a major buff to his passive to where it will heal a lot more, it will gain more energy based on crits, and the extra attack will ignore 40% of the target's defense. Big buff to him. That's really interesting. So yeah, just Argus overall got a big damage buff. Now, I think this change to Joy is just absolutely gonna kill her. Like, she's gonna be so bad. They made it where her second skill no longer grants her CC immunity. Instead, they just reduced the cooldown a lot, removed the CC immunity, and they made it where her ult can be cast right away and does more damage based on how many beats you hit. And then they reduced like the cooldowns in return, but then they also nerfed the ult. So like that's just, I think Joy is just awful now. She has been picked a lot in jungle, in pro play, and in ranked matches, but I think this change just killed her. Absolutely. But we'll have to see. Roger's change, overall it seems like a buff. So they made it where the passive in human form, you do more damage based on their current HP. So sort of like a DHS. And then his wolf form is the opposite of a DHS, where it does more damage based on their lost HP, how much HP they're missing. And then it's capped on creeps, which makes sense. The second skill will give, instead of just movement speed in the human form, it gives attack speed and move speed. And then they made it more optimized for his ult to where when you jump from human to ult form, there's that little animation time where you like stuck for a second. That's no longer a thing. And they adjusted his skill ones of both human and wolf form to sort of compensate for the changes. Overall, it seems like a good buff to Roger. Big buff to the human form. Wolf form didn't really change too much except for like the smoother animation. Khaleed got an interesting change to where his first skill damage doesn't ramp up anymore every time, like 15% every single time you connect, but instead, its base damage is being increased by a little bit, its scaling is being increased by a little bit, and now you don't have to connect the dash to continue dashing. So before, if you hit someone with the first skill, if they hit again after you dash, and then hit again after you dash for it to keep going. But if you hit no one, it would just only do it once, and then hit nothing, and then it would go on cooldown. But now you can always do those dashes, even if you hit nothing. Interesting change. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. I have to see testing wise. Alucard. I don't really know about Alucard changes. Let's see. Deals increased damage. They removed that. Base skill 2 got buffed. Ultimate hybrid healing got buffed. The slow got buffed. Oh, the duration got buffed, but the actual slow got nerfed. Oh, so his ult now absorbs defense instead of granting extra lifesteal. And deals extra damage with his passive that targets it. I mean, it seems like a buff, but I'm not an Alucard player, I don't know. Now this Chang'e change I actually found very interesting. So I don't know where her passive was before, but this new passive where you can slow up to 20% just based on your skill damage, combine that with 30% slow from Ice Cream Wand is a 50% slow. So that actually sounds really good. And Chang'e can actually still fully utilize Ice Cream Wand's passive even after it got nerfed, because of how much she procs damage with her ult and autos. So this is a very interesting change. Definitely a major buff to Chang'e. I actually want to try this. Very curious about this one. Tigreal. CD cooldown buffs. Doesn't really seem like anything big. I doubt it's going to be a huge deal. Now this Harith change is very interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not much of a Harith player, but I thought it looked pretty OP. So they made it where Harith's ult used to give 45% resilience. If you don't know what that is, basically it's like buying Tough Boots, where you get you're CC'd for a shorter amount of time. So Tough Boots gives like 30%. So Harith gives 45%, which is more than Tough Boots. Almost half the CC time is reduced. But instead of that, they're making it where he has 35% hybrid lifesteal. That's an insane number. Combine that with Calamity, you almost have 50% hybrid lifesteal. And if that gets reduced by in half by anti-heal, that's still like 25%. So that's a lot. And you still get a little bit of resilience on his ult. Oh, wait, I'm stupid. It's up to the amount of nearby heroes. So it's not a flat amount of hybrid lifesteal, but that's still a lot. Getting it, so you don't even need your ult to get that hybrid lifesteal. It's just based on the amount of heroes nearby. So that's actually kind of better. That'll make your laning phase a lot stronger. Well, that's pretty insane. Minsitthar. Minsitthar can cast other skills while attracting the spear. So I'm assuming when he pulls back the spear, you can cast skills while doing that. So that's interesting. That's actually really crazy. Okay. I'm not sure that's a big change, but it's just a little neat one. Guinevere. Oh, okay. That's a good buff. So with Guinevere, there's this thing versus certain heroes where if the heroes throw a CC skill, even when you dash into them, your dash will get cancelled. For example, Edith, if you're Guinevere and try to jump on her, she can just press second skill and cancel you no matter what. But now, because your knockup doesn't proc right away, it just goes down, then knocks up. So when you're going down before that knockup interval, you can be CC'd and cancelled. So Pack can knock up cancel you. Edith can flip you over. I think Argus can first skill stun you. Just any CC skill can basically interrupt the knockup. So now they made it where when she goes down, it instantly stuns, so you don't have an opportunity to counterattack. But because of that, they're going to nerf the ults a little bit. Oh, actually, it's an adjustment. They made the CD quite a bit longer, but then they made it where it's actually airborne even longer, too. That's a big buff to Guinevere, actually. Eve gets a nerf. God, no. We had enough of Eve in the meta, man. Please. She was out of the meta for how long now? Not enough. Not long enough. So they reverted some of the Eve nerfs just to her slows. Okay, that's not too bad. It's just the slows. They didn't give any damage back. Okay, Gushin. You got a buff. Interesting. Gushin is immune to control effects when he moves behind the marked target. So when he throws a dagger and chases someone, he can't be CC and stopped midair. That's an interesting change. That's not nothing really too huge. Julian gets a slight buff in the range of his skills. Oh, I gotta see that. Sicilian's damage output is decreased since the revamp lightning truncheon. I'll make up for that this patch. Okay, they buff Cecil's damage. God, he's gonna be a late game monster even more now. Those are some pretty sizable buffs. They look like small numbers, but when you take into account that Cecil's a late game hero, these numbers will be big numbers in the late game. Alduis gets that's literally meaningless. A skill 2 buff is meaningless. Valentina gets another nerf. This is not gonna change anything. Improving the USA rate of other rages. Why does it say USA? Sorry, I'm reading these. Nolan. Ultimate nerf. Big cooldown nerf to the ultimate. Deserved. And damage nerf. No, I don't think it's crazy nerf, though. He'll still be good. Thamuz! Ooh. Thamuz buff? Not really too crazy. I wish they would just buff his first skill. That's not really too crazy though. Natan, ult buff, 2 seconds, big deal, big whoop. 4 to 2 seconds, big whoop. Okay, Lesley gets a buff. I've been saying this, man, like, the buffs they gave to their nerfs they gave to Lesley were so unjustified. They literally destroyed her with that last nerf to her base attack, or no, her base attack and crit scaling on her first skill. Then they buffed Twilight Armor, and then they nerfed Berserker's Fury. Like the biggest Lesley counter item, the biggest source of her damage, and then just nerfing her to the ground. So I don't think this buff is even enough to like make her even usable again, but still like they destroyed her for whatever reason. Tigreal getting another nerf to his first skill, going from a 25% slow to 15%. That's not too crazy, but damn, they've really been hammering the nerfs on Tigreal. Fanny getting a nerf. Okay, I don't know much about that. I'm not a Fanny player. Matilda getting another nerf to her second skill and ult. She's still gonna be meta. Actually, I don't know after the support item nerfs, but we'll see. The second skill nerf, it's not really huge nerfs. Angela. Okay, the passive takes longer to proc now, and now she does less damage against minions and creeps. So that's gonna nerf the mid Angela, which is the intention. Makes sense. Rafaela doesn't do bonus damage against mid and creeps. Okay, that's fine. Irithel got quite a sizable nerf. 2.5 attack growth. Losing that is actually a big deal. Esmeralda, first a shield buff in the early game. Interesting. Okay. Lane gets a 10% crit damage buff. I don't know how crazy that is. And Basha, lower cooldown on the first skill. Okay. Battlefield adjustments. First 10 siege minion. Reduce the XP given to siege minion XP while increase their XP growth. So, what this means, I think, is that Mage and XP going to XP level 1 might not both get level 2. I think that's what this change is for. They don't want to have mages going XP every single time. And I think this makes that not possible anymore. But I don't know for sure. Retribution. I don't know if that's like a change. Oh wait, you don't take reduced damage from Lords anymore? Lord and Turtles? Lord is angry. So Lord now does a lot of... Oh my god. Wait, Lord? I gotta tell Dane that. That is a big buff to Lord. It'll be like really hard for tank jungle to solo it. Turtle, I don't know what that changes. Lightning Truncheon. Some mages mobility may enhance these equipments. So now, when triggering a damage, increase when losing by 30% for 2 seconds. That's pretty good. Damage, 35% mana, 450 to 120% magic power. Wow, wait, that's actually a really good buff. Yeah, that's actually a really good... Okay, this is actually a strong buff late game, but early game, it's actually a nerf. Because all that mana you get from Clock of Destiny and Lightning Truncheon goes into the Lightning Truncheon's damage. But now, since it's reliant on your magic power, that means you need to have more items for Lightning Truncheon to do more damage. So it looks like a good buff, but it's actually going to be a nerf in the early game and strong in the late game. Stronger in the late game. So that's interesting. Flask of the Oasis. Major early game nerf. Going from 660 shield to 100. I mean, deserved nerf for sure. That shield was so broken. But man, that's a big nerf. And the favor got nerfed as well. Deserved. Emblems. Okay, what emblems got changed? That's a very big thing. Basic attacks slowly 9%. Attack to 50% 0.5 seconds. Every basic attack reduces by 1 second down to 3 seconds. Assassin went from adaptive pen 16 to 14. Wilderness movement speed goes from 15 to 10. That's a good nerf. Master Assassin damage increase 5%. Oh, that's the high and dry. Go. That's actually a big buff. That'll actually make it worth using. 7%. That's almost like the old high and dry, which was 8%. 10% I think it's like peak form. But it was like 7 or 8% before the emblem system changed. Killing spree buff, quantum charge nerf, impure rage nerf. Good. I like these changes to the emblems. I like these changes. They're good changes. Nothing really too crazy, and they're buffing some of the weaker stuff. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Wow. This is a big update. Like, actually big, really, really big update. A lot of changes to a lot of things. This is like an update I've been waiting for a long time. I've been really upset with the updates recently to where they've all been so minor. But this is a big change to a lot of heroes, big revamps, system changes, Lord, Turtle, emblems. I'm quite satisfied with this. Anywho, hope you all enjoy. Thank you all for watching. You know, see me test it out on the stream tomorrow or this morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And like the video, subscribe, all good stuff. Bye.